Hello, my name is Elena Arce Cánovas. In this project, I'm going to spend 6 days with my grandmother, whose name is Maria del Carmen. She is 86 years old and she has white hair and big brown eyes. These days, I had the opportunity not only to teach some English to my grandmother, but also to help her with her memory losses. The first day, I interviewed my grandmother and I asked her a couple of things, such as what is your favorite food? What is your favorite color? Tell me about your hobbies. Tell me about your family. I realized there were a couple of things I didn't know about my grandmother. For instance, I didn't know she was a seamstress, but when she met my grandfather, she stopped working and became a housewife. During the interview, I discovered how my grandfather made her fall in love with him. She told me he used to bought her flowers and wrote her love letters. My grandmother used to meet other guys, but when she met my grandfather, she knew he was the one and they were together ever since. My grandfather passed away 3 years ago and we were all very worried about her because she has to live by herself, but we find out that she was an independent woman and she loved to spend time by herself. I asked her some questions about her family and I tried to teach her how to say some vocabulary in English. We also make riddles related to the family. The second day, we played Simon Says, and I gave her an English lesson. During Simon Says, I told her to touch different parts of the body. She learned how to say ear, nose, eyes, hand. We also learned how to pronounce the numbers. I wrote down how would they be written in Spanish so she could read it. We also learned some difference between both language. For example, look and door. In English, vowels have different sounds depending on the word, while in Spanish, each vowel have just one sound. Cooking with my grandmother. On Monday, my grandmother woke up excited with the idea of cooking meatballs. In this lesson, we learned some vocabulary about the ingredients we use for this recipe. While we were cooking the meatballs, we looked up in the internet how they called and how they cook this dish in other countries. At the end of the day, my grandmother learned how to say garlic, onion, meat, bread, tomato, and eggs. Money, money, money. Tuesday was the day we practiced maths. I put her some problems and she has to solve it. My grandmother calculates very well, so it was very easy for her. The problems were related with the conversation we have the previous days about family and economy. During the lesson, I found out that it was cheaper to do things in the past when my grandmother was young. Going to the cinema is something that everyone could afford. Also, we check how the numbers were pronounced. Go back to childhood. This is the title of the lesson number 5. Nobody knows my signature was created by my grandfather. That day, I told this to my grandmother, and also I gave her a piece of paper so she could show me her signature. We also play a memory game on which you have to find two pieces with the same picture. This day, my grandmother told me she wasn't a good student because when she was young, she had to take care of her little sisters. She could even remember the names of some of her teachers. In this lesson, I told her how to say the name of the different subjects, such as science, math, biology. Tell me a story. This is the title of the lesson number 6. I find old people voice really relaxing. That's why I thought it would be a really good idea if I record my grandmother reading a story. She chose the present rat. After that, my grandmother started telling me typical sayings in Spanish and also poems of her favorite writers. I told her that the sayings are like swans, which cannot be translated exactly in other language. And every language have their own swang. For example, it's raining cats and dogs. That means it's raining a lot in Spanish. In conclusion, this work has been very satisfying. I love my grandmother, and I learned that I want to spend more time with her. I hope you enjoyed this video and also my final project, teaching my grandmother.